Hey guys, it's Danny. It is really early morning and I'm watering my orchids because there's no better time like early morning. Literally, there is no time. I have to do this very early morning. Oh, the lights are coming on. Anyway, I just realized that I have a sort of a new watering technique. It's not new, it's the very same. I'm just using different stuff that you guys don't know about. So you know what? I'm gonna take you along a little bit and water some orchids and show you my current routine, which is the same as it used to be. I'm just doing it a little bit differently because, not by choice, let's put it like that. So let me show you what I mean. Oh, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, and why not subscribe? I post 3 times a week. There, almost forgot to say it. I didn't have enough coffee just yet. I'm working on it. Alright, so as I was saying, my technique is pretty much the same, but currently I swapped this guy with this guy. Why on earth did I do that? Because I've been using this thing for many years now. Well, let me just try to demonstrate. So here I was, as usual, minding my own business and preparing to put some water into my sprayer so I can go ahead and water everybody. And then all of a sudden, it did not open. And I tried and I tried and I tried again. I tried for about 10 minutes. My palms were red. It is so stuck, it's not even funny anymore. Now, yeah, of course, I can actually try to find a stronger person than I am, maybe to help me out. But when you're watering very early morning, you would be shocked to learn that people are sleeping. Yeah, I know you've heard the rumors, they're true. People are actually sleeping at 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm awake because I'm special like that. So rather than not watering my orchids at all that morning and suffer the consequences, because sometimes I push it to the limits, I have to say, I decided to wing it because that's what I wanted. So I had some watering cans in the greenhouse, not this particular one, the pink one that you keep seeing in my videos, which for some reason decided to play hide and seek in the greenhouse. Anyway, you know the one I'm talking about. That one is an IKEA watering can and it's open at the top. Now, in that moment, I did what I had to do with that watering can, but as much as I discovered, hey, this kind of works, it also wasn't very ideal because the open top made it so that water was actually splashing out of it when I tried to reach the deeper orchids into the shelves. What ended up happening was finishing watering much faster than usual and liking this technique much more than I should have. So I went to the garden center, and mind you, this was like I think 5-6 months ago at this point, and tried to find a watering can which was not open top. It had a big enough opening, but the actual tube itself, I don't know how to call it, it's early morning, bear with me, this guy is not open. This was one of the problems with the other watering can. So I found this watering can which works pretty great. So I'm gonna demonstrate. Before we do that though, let me explain what the bucket is for. Well, see, when I have the time to prepare my fertilizer, I make a bigger quantity in this bucket because it's easier to mix. I'm not gonna wait around for the thing to dissolve into this 2-liter watering can because it will take more waiting around than actually watering. I prepare 10 liters of fertilized water in this bucket and then use it with the watering can. So let's start by preparing the water. Alright, so here I am next to my sink, next to my shelf of supplies, which is a little bit of a mess, but it's okay. And what I typically do is mix tap water with reverse osmosis water because it's not the end of the world to do so, and I'm more economical with osmosis water. So I have here, don't know if you can see, there is a line I drew with the marker. This is how much tap water I put, and then top it off with osmosis water. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And as the bucket fills, this is where I store my reverse osmosis water. It's in a 100-liter trash can, which is great. So I have some tap water in the bucket, and before we move on, let me show you something really cool. This nail polish is thermal. Ta-da! This one too. Ta-da! How cute is that? Okay, back to what we were doing. Now I'm going to add some fertilizer. I just topped up my MSU container. I'm gonna be placing a big scoop. In winter time, I'm actually using about half the dosage they recommend, and then I'm just adding reverse osmosis water all the way to the top. All right, so now I'm gonna let it dissolve for a few minutes as I will push my table towards the shelf that I want to water, because yes, this table is on wheels, so I don't have to carry the heavy bucket everywhere in the greenhouse, which is great because with the watering can, that's exactly what I needed to do. And while it's not hard, it's definitely a little annoying when it's early morning and you're not careful. Now I have to say, I kind of need to change this table because when I move it, it's like a train. Hold on, let me demonstrate. Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue in the early morning because, as I was saying, shockingly, people are sleeping at this hour, and I'm sure that the noise propagates through the floor, through the walls, and it's not fun. So definitely I need to get myself something a little bit more silent, maybe with some bigger wheels. We'll see about that. But anyway, after everything is dissolved, next step is to put the water in the watering can. And I do this next to the shelf that I'm currently watering the orchids on. So I use the same jug, and just to make sure the water doesn't splash everywhere, which it doesn't. Usually I'm not so awkward, but now there is a camera in front of me and I need to be careful where I position myself. So let's do the vandas. Literally, I just pour some water in the pot. Now, before I go on, I have to tell you, just because I'm using a watering can or sprayer or whatever doesn't mean all of my watering issues are over. I actually start with the very beginning, with the way that I arrange the medium inside the pot in such a way that it is very wicking and whatever water collects at the bottom is dragged back up. I won't insist too much on the details. I do have a separate video on it. I'll link it to it down below. It's my How to Water 400 Orchids Fast video. It all has to do with the medium. There's no fast magic trick, it's all pre-arranged, let's say. This technique would definitely not work in a full bark arrangement because bark is not wicking at all. So what you'll end up having is just a pool of water under the pot, and that's about it. But adding sphagnum moss actually makes everything a lot more wicking. And even though, yes, orchid roots are wicking by themselves, it doesn't mean they will always do a great job. The water at the bottom will not actually be dragged all the way up. And that puts, in my opinion, a strain on the roots. It's not an efficient way of hydrating orchids. It's just halfway. It's not efficient. I prefer to use materials to wick up the water and make everything even. And in this case, the clay pot itself will start to wick the water that I leave in this tray and will drag it to the top. And from the clay pot, the medium will absorb water as well, the roots as well. So I do have multiple components here which ensure that this water is going to be utilized rather than staying in the dish. So by no means am I suggesting you should get a watering can and water all of your orchids this way no matter what. It has to start with how you prepare your medium and setup, basically. So, back to our story, I discovered that watering my orchids in this way cuts the time in which I wait in half. How I used to do it up until now to get the water in that sprayer was to use this little jug, get the water from the sink or my osmosis storage bin, one scoop at a time, put it back in that watering spray, being careful not to splash around too much, then let the fertilizer dissolve in that sprayer, and then get the sprayer wherever I need it on the shelves and water the orchids, which it worked great. This technique I've been using for the past 5 years, ever since I've moved here. Works, but I will have to admit that the watering can method is just a little bit better, is just a little bit easier, you know, especially for the orchids on higher shelves, and it's just faster, so I'm gonna stick with it, okay? Okay, so let's go ahead and water some orchids, shall we? Now, how do I know how much water to pour in so that I don't have a major spillage on my shelf? Well, you kind of get the feel for it in time. So I visually know how much water to put in order for it not to overflow. But I also keep a piece of paper handy, and when I see it kind of starts to overflow, I put it right next to it so that if it does, it's not gonna go everywhere. Accidents can happen, but generally I'm pretty good at it. Now, yes, it can actually be a little bit more risky to place water in the crowns or to overdo it because you don't actually have as much control with the watering can as you do with the sprayer. But the magic word is experience. The more that I do this, the more experience I have, the careful I can be. So with these orchids, I can dose a little bit of water, while with the big ones that drink a lot, I can just pour and make a mess on the floor. It's okay. And pour and pour and pour, and it actually goes a lot faster than the spraying can, and the water didn't even start to fill. This one has a big pot and it's a thirsty orchid, so I usually fill it all the way to the rim of this dish. This is my gongora. It's full of flower spikes. I just wish everybody opened at the same time because the flowers do not last on gongoras. I already lost the first spike. One is already in bloom there, but it will fade in a few days and I have a million more buds. So why can't you sync up? Can you please try? That'd be great. So if you're ever curious to learn about my morning routine, you know, that hashtag or whatever topic, which is very popular on YouTube, my morning routine, my nighttime routine. Yeah, my morning routine involves buckets, reverse osmosis water, fertilizer, and orchids. And I think it's the best morning routine ever. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. So anyway, yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Again, keep in mind, just because you see me do this doesn't mean that you should do it as well. And if you're interested to test it out with an orchid, see if it actually makes your life a little easier, just start with the video that I linked down below, because I talk more at the length there about how I arrange the medium and so on and so forth. This does not work without this arrangement. If you just have pure bark or charcoal or whatever, it's not gonna work this way. I wouldn't do it. Just forget about it in water, however you feel best. But if you feel you could use a little help, I don't know, try it out. Maybe it's fun. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.